wake up every morning thinking silence is weakness. You fill the void with words. Noise, reassurance. You speak to prove that you exist. You explain yourself because you fear being misunderstood. But I tell you this, no one is listening. The more you talk, the smaller you sound, the more you reveal, the easier you are to control. Your world rewards exposure, not wisdom. You live inside a market of noise, where everyone sells themselves for attention, and no one remembers the art of disappearing. You confuse communication with connection. You think honesty is strength. It is not. It is nakedness. The disciplined man says nothing. He lets the silence speak for him. Because silence, my friend, is not emptiness. It is power held in reserve. You mistake activity for control, but control begins in restraint. Every impulse you obey weakens your command over yourself. Every unnecessary word is a confession. Every emotional reaction is a signal to your enemy. You have been trained to respond, to explain, to justify, to make others comfortable. From childhood, they shaped you into an obedient mirror, smiling, apologizing, waiting for permission. You call it kindness. I call it conditioning. You were not born to serve. Yet you were taught that silence is rude, that strength is arrogance, that self-control is coldness. And so you leak your energy through words. You tell people what you feel, what you plan, what you dream, and then you wonder why they use it against you. The truth is, this power is not found in what you show, but in what you withhold. You live in an age of exposure. You broadcast your mind, your emotions, your weaknesses, and you mistake visibility for significance. You think that being seen means being valued. It doesn't. It means you are available to be used. The powerful do not shout. They whisper, and when they must speak, they choose words like blades short, deliberate, irreversible. You are surrounded by men who cannot stop talking. They drown in their own explanations. They fill silence with apologies. They announce every intention before acting. And in doing so, they become predictable. Predictability is the death of command. When your enemy knows your rhythm, he owns your outcome. I once warned a prince, never reveal your plans until the victory is already secured. The world will try to drag you into endless conversation, into argument, into debate. It will try to pull your attention outward, to make you react. Refuse. The true strategist never reacts. He observes, calculates, waits. His silence is not absence, it is preparation. You want to be heard, but first you must become unreadable. The more they understand you, the more power they have over you. To speak without control is to disarm yourself in public. You hand your enemies the map of your soul. You think openness builds trust, but in truth, it builds leverage for them, not for you. The disciplined man keeps his thoughts behind his eyes. He lets his presence speak in the quiet between words. You can feel when a person like that enters a room. The air changes. The noise shrinks. The insecure rush to fill the silence. The powerful own it. Silence is not absence. It is pressure. It is the weight of restraint. You don't need to dominate people by words. You dominate them by stillness. Stillness is the art of concealed movement. It is how a lion prepares to strike quiet. Motionless. Unreadable. You speak too early. You reveal too much. You break the illusion before it forms. And every time you do, you weaken the effect of your presence. Understand, this presence is strategy. The world doesn't respond to who you are. It responds to the story it tells itself about you. When you speak constantly, you destroy the mystery. You make yourself small enough to understand, and what can be understood can be dismissed. The disciplined mind learns to weaponize ambiguity. You don't need to explain yourself to those who cannot comprehend you. You do not owe access to your inner world. Your silence forces others to imagine what you are thinking, and imagination is far more powerful than truth. People fear what they cannot read. They respect what they cannot predict. They obey what they cannot define. To say nothing is not to hide it, is to rule the unseen. You were raised in a culture of reaction. Every word is demanded instantly. Every opinion must be declared. Every feeling must be confessed. You are addicted to response. But strategy demands distance. The one who pauses, who does not rush to answer, already controls the tempo. He sets the rhythm of the exchange. The world calls it hesitation. I call it control. Discipline is the ability to hold your tongue while your mind moves like a blade in the dark. You do not silence yourself because you have nothing to say. You silence yourself because your words are ammunition. A commander does not fire blindly. He waits for the perfect range. You must learn to speak like that, only when impact is guaranteed. Every other moment, remain unreadable. The more you can endure silence, the more control you possess. Weak men cannot bear it. They speak to relieve tension. They talk to feel seen. You will learn to thrive in that tension. You will let others squirm under the weight of your stillness. Their anxiety will reveal them. Your patience will expose their weakness. This is how you turn silence into dominance. They will interpret your quiet as confidence. They will fill the void with their own words, their own mistakes. Let them. Power belongs to the one who can wait the longest without showing need. You think leadership means talking. It doesn't. Leadership begins with control of presence. The disciplined man enters a room and says little. He watches everything. He measures reactions. He studies tone, posture, breathing. Every detail is intelligence. Every silence is a weapon. He speaks only when the silence has already done its work. You have been taught to fear silence because it forces you to face yourself. You fill it with chatter to avoid confrontation with your own mind. But if you ever wish to command others, you must first command that inner noise. Until you master your tongue, you are owned by it. Until you can endure being misunderstood, you are still begging for approval. The powerful do not beg to be seen. They choose when to reveal and when to vanish. You will learn that saying nothing does not make you invisible, it makes you untouchable. You will become the mirror that reflects others' illusions back at them. They will reveal themselves, trying to read you. They will talk themselves into exhaustion, while you remain still, precise, observing every crack in their mask. This is psychological warfare, not with swords, but with silence. You do not attack directly. You unbalance. You make them anticipate what will never come. You weaponize uncertainty. Machiavellian strategy dictates that the greatest influence lies not in what you do, but in what others think you might do. That is the architecture of fear, to be felt without being seen, to be understood without ever explaining yourself. But you cannot reach that level while you are addicted to expression. Every opinion you post, every emotion you display, every reaction you feed, all of it bleeds your power into the air. Discipline is the art of conservation, the art of storing energy for decisive moments. You must become like a fortress, quiet, unyielding, unreadable. The crowd will call you cold. Let them. Warmth is a distraction. You are not here to be liked, you are here to command. Command begins with control of the tongue. The undisciplined man is a slave to his emotions. The disciplined one listens even to his silence. He knows when his words will wound, when his stillness will suffocate, when his absence will haunt. That is strategy. That is dominance without conflict. The first rule of discipline is this: you do not react. The second, you do not explain. The third, you do not repeat yourself. You say a thing once, clearly, and let the silence finish it. The weak will scramble to fill it. The strong will hear it echo. You want to be free? Then stop performing. Stop confessing. Stop feeding every eye that demands a piece of your attention. Your silence is not emptiness. It is ownership. You do not owe your voice to everyone who calls your name. Speak less. Move deliberately. Let your absence be louder than your words. You will begin to notice that the world bends differently around the man who says little. People lean closer. They wait longer. They interpret more. That is leverage. That is control. Every word you withhold increases your gravitational pull. Every silence draws them in deeper. This is not mysticism. It is mechanics. Power is built on perception, and perception is shaped by restraint. When you can control your impulses, you control your image. When you control your image, you control outcomes. And when you can control outcomes, you no longer need to ask for permission. You are feared. You are respected. You are obeyed not because you spoke, but because you didn't. You have been taught a story about virtue, a tidy narrative that comforts and controls. It tells you that goodness is a currency, that moral postures buy safety, that the kind man will be rewarded in time. It is a story because it must be repeated. And repetition is the simplest form of obedience. Listen, that story is a mechanism of containment. It keeps men small by making them polite prisoners of other people's expectations. Shattering that illusion is the first duty of one who intends to survive beyond sentiment. You are not cruel because you refuse to be used. You are merciful when mercy is earned. You are not unkind because you hold boundaries. You are clear. The myth of being good functions like a leash disguised as honor. It asks you to carry your own restraint as proof that you will never threaten the order of someone else's advantage. In return, it hands you the illusion of safety. Safety rarely belongs to the principled. It belongs to the useful. You still believe compliance is a moral high ground. You mistake the applause of the crowd for justice. That applause is a toll, pay it, and remain visible long enough to be picked apart. I will break this for you now. Morality without strategy is vanity. It is decoration for the weak. The world does not care for the content of your conscience. It pays attention to what you make possible. The man who survives is the man who structures his conscience to serve his ends, not the other way around. You must not abandon principle, you must redesign it. Make it functional. Make it an instrument. The discipline of saying nothing is not immoral, it is practical. It is the recalibration of ethics into effectiveness. When you accept that, you grant yourself permission to rearrange your loyalties. You will find that people praise the man who appears kind while using him. They condemn the man who appears cold while he builds a kingdom. One is decoration, the other is architecture. Which will you choose? You were conditioned to obey. Observe that process as a surgeon observes flesh. It begins long before you knew language. It is taught in the tilt of a head, the withdrawal of a touch, the smile that follows compliance. Fear is seeded in the small things, the reprimand, the withheld affection, the slight that arrives when you refuse. Guilt becomes your harness. It tightens with every concession. You learned that pleasing others produces comfort, a nod, a quiet, the easing of someone's temper. You learned that avoidance of conflict buys momentary peace. These transactions accumulate until your life is organized around appeasing invisible judges. The psychology of obedience is elegant and brutal. It converts want into duty, and duty into a prison. You cloak obedience in noble words: responsibility, respect, love, and the cloak makes the bars look like curtains. Understand that obedience is not an accident. It is engineered by those who benefit from your compliance. Parents, teachers, institutions, lovers, all of them play roles in the experiment. They imprint you with reflexes. Now you repeat them as if they were truths. The first step to breaking the loop is noticing the pattern. Observe how often you apologize for things you did not do. Notice how quickly you retract an opinion when another voice rises. Measure how you dilute your desire to match the room. These are not virtues. They are syndromes. They are symptoms of training that robbed you of your tempo. The obedient mind flinches before its own wants. It makes them private, ashamed, small. You have been taught that your needs are inconvenient. You learn to reduce them. To reclaim command, you must make them strategic again. Insist upon your time, your silence, your absence. Demand them as a tactic. When you do, expect resistance. People who benefit from your obedience will accuse you of selfishness. They will call your withdrawal abandonment. Ignore the labels. Labels are the last weapon of those who cannot counter strategy. They will holler moral virtue at you because they have none of the discipline you now wield. Guilt will try to persuade you to return. It will dress itself in righteousness and claim that your silence hurts others. Consider this: there is a difference between harm and leverage. You withhold to gain position, not to punish. You withhold to sharpen the moment when your presence will matter most. The obedient heart confuses withholding with cruelty. It cannot grasp the concept of delayed influence. You must learn to let that confusion stand. Let them interpret. Let them narrate. The narrative they build about you is not your responsibility. You will be accused of coldness because you choose to be quiet. You will be called ruthless because you refuse to perform. Let them speak. Your silence will do the real work. Now watch how these lessons translate into the mechanics of power. Exposure teaches. Silence manipulates. When you refuse to explain, others explain for you, often revealing their own weaknesses. In conversation, the one who speaks first gives away information. The one who yields early shows the map of their mind. You must practice a surgical economy of speech. When asked, answer with the minimum viable sentence. When cornered, do not fill the air with reasons. Reasons are invitations. They create footholds for attack. A man who speaks too much hands his motives to the curious and the cunning. Silence forces them to guess, to overshoot, to miscalculate. The best deception is truth withheld. The liar risks being unmasked. The silent man is never entirely known. He is, therefore, always negotiating. You will practice this in daily skirmishes. In meetings, speak only when your words move the board. In relationships, reserve confession for moments of strategic consequence. In public, maintain a rhythm of calm that makes others uneasy. You will see the effect instantly. People begin to test you. They will send probes, urgent questions, dramatic pleas, petty provocations. Each probe is a measurement. Respond to none unless you need to. Each unanswered probe is a revelation. It tells you who is dependent, who is performative, who holds sway. Record these truth tokens. Use them. You do not withdraw because you are cruel. You withdraw to map the battlefield. This process will reveal allies and predators. Some will rise to meet your silence with respect. Others will try to break it with noise. Those who attempt to break you reveal their method domination through distraction. They believe volume substitutes for depth. They will smear, accuse, dramatize. Let them. Their theater surfaces their strategies. Do not engage in their play. The man who answers every accusation becomes a performer on their terms. The man who does not answer rewrites the stage. He forces them to act without a script. When the drama collapses under its own momentum, only the disciplined remain standing. You have a body that reacts before the mind decides. This is where obedience nests. Your heartbeat quickens, your face flushes, your throat tightens all before your intellect catches up. Learn to watch those signals as one watches weather. They are indicators, not commands. Breathe into the tightness. Name it psychologically. This is fear. This is habit. This is the reflex of obedience. Naming dissolves automaticity. It creates a space between impulse and action. That space is where discipline lives. In that gap, you choose silence. In that gap, you sculpt restraint. You will practice expanding that gap until it becomes a habit. Then your reactions will align with your strategy, not your training. Remember, obedience is contagious. In the presence of the obedient, others relax into authority. They lean on those they perceive as compliant. The disciplined man leverages this. He shows small, deliberate signals of indifference. He keeps his thought private. He allows others to project their needs onto him, then uses those projections to test loyalty. The world yields to those who are not needy. Neediness bleeds authority. If you wish to command, you must engineer a matrix of independence. Build rituals of solitude. Protect them fiercely. The solitude you cultivate is not loneliness. It is a laboratory. In it, you think, refine, plan. The man who speaks because he cannot bear silence will never command a room. The man who enters solitude as training returns armed with perspective, restraint, an inner metronome that times his interventions. I once warned a prince, and I say this now not to flatter, but to instruct. Appearances are the most malleable resource you control. Guard yours. Let your silence be part of the costume you wear. Costume does not equal deception. Costume is the encoding of intent. The prince who appears detached is not heartless. He is computing He is selecting which wars to fight, which concessions to make. His silence is calibrated. Your silence must be the same. Wear it deliberately. Let it be read as competence, not indifference. The world mistakes mystery for threat and rewards its conquerors. You will be tempted to view this as cruelty. You will invent narratives that make restraint a moral failure. Do not indulge them. Remember the law of outcomes, consequences, not intentions. Determine your influence. The man who spares sentiment to build a structure that protects his people is not less virtuous. He is more effective. Virtue without efficacy is decoration. Strategy without conscience is tyranny. You must hold both, but subordinate sympathy to outcome. Let empathy be selective, not universal. Be compassionate where it further secures your aims. Be ruthless where mercy risks collapse. Discipline teaches you the calculus of such choices. Now you stand at a threshold. The old narratives will call to you with soft voices. Be kind. Be open. to be forgiving. Those voices will be loud because the culture thrives on their repetition. They will accuse your silence of sin and your independence of arrogance. Let them accuse. Their accusations are the last refuge of those who prefer theater to architecture. You will learn to accept that being misunderstood is a cost of mastery. The price of being feared is the murmur of the crowd. Pay it gladly, for the currency is leverage. This is the end of the phase that breaks your chains and lays out the psychology of obedience. You have seen how conditioning shapes reflexes, how silence converts ambiguity into power, how solitude sharpens intent. Ahead lies the exposure of reality, the mechanics of power itself, and the mirror of weakness, where you will be forced to see what you have let rule you. Shall I continue with the next part now? You want to know what power truly is. You imagine it as volume, movement, possession. But power is simpler and colder. Power is the ability to define reality without asking permission. It is the art of making others adjust their perception until they orbit you. Most men never reach this state because they cannot tolerate the tension of being doubted. They rush to clarify, to justify, to explain themselves. They confuse approval with control. Listen carefully when you defend yourself. You kneel when you explain yourself. You concede terrain. Every word that tries to fix how others see you is a brick removed from your fortress. You must learn to live inside misinterpretation. Let them be wrong. Let them talk. Every sentence they speak is energy. You did not have to spend. Power grows where energy is conserved. Reality is not fair. It is strategic. It moves according to perception, leverage, and patience. The world is not a meritocracy. It is a battlefield of usefulness. People will value you only as long as your presence solves their problem. Once it doesn't, they will convert your past kindness into expectation. That is why you must never trade your silence for sympathy. Sympathy does not scale. Usefulness does. When you become indispensable, you become tolerated. When you become replaceable, you become invisible. The disciplined man reads this dynamic without emotion. He does not resent it. He designs around it. He calibrates his actions to maintain asymmetry, giving just enough value to stay needed, withholding just enough to remain unpredictable. Predictability kills command. A predictable man is easy to manage. A silent man is difficult to measure, therefore dangerous. Danger is leverage. It makes others negotiate with you before you even speak. I have seen men destroyed because they mistook visibility for power. They chased recognition until their own image consumed them. They performed goodness until they became predictable, safe, forgettable. The world rewarded them with applause and took their spine as payment. The truth is merciless to maintain influence. You must become partially unknowable. People obey not because they understand you, but because they fear misjudging you. Ambiguity breeds caution. Caution breeds control. Therefore, silence is not absence. It is geometry. It shapes the space others must navigate. They slow down around you. They choose words carefully. They listen more. The quiet man bends the tempo of every room he enters. That is how power breathes, not through noise, but through rhythm. Now face the mirror of weakness. Look closely. You are not kind. You are afraid. Every gesture of politeness hides the same impulse, the wish to be spared conflict. You smile when you should observe. You agree when you should analyze. You call it peace. But it is paralysis. You surrender not to others, but to your own discomfort. Weakness is not lack of strength, it is lack of strategy. You waste your precision on anxiety. You are afraid of being alone with your silence because silence exposes truth. It reveals that you have built your identity on reaction, without others to respond to. You dissolve. So you talk. You fill the air with explanations. You try to be understood. That need is your chain. Cut it. You do not need to be understood. You need to be obeyed. Understanding is horizontal. Command is vertical. If you want to move upward, stop talking sideways. You think you fear conflict. But what you truly fear is disapproval. Disapproval reminds you of childhood, the withheld affection, the sharp tone, the tiny punishments that trained you to bend. You are still seeking the nod that says, "You are good." Stop seeking it. Replace the question, "Am I good with? Am I effective?" Goodness is subjective. Effectiveness is measurable. The world's hierarchy is built on outcomes, not intentions. The powerful are not loved. They are necessary. The weak are not hated. They are irrelevant. Decide which wound you prefer, the wound of being feared or the wound of being forgotten. Only one heals into strength. When you finally stop performing, the world will test you. It will send manipulators disguised as friends, beggars disguised as lovers, cowards disguised as mentors. They will try to pull words from you, to make you confess, to make you reveal the coordinates of your peace. Say nothing. They will call you arrogant. Let them. Arrogance is only confidence perceived by the insecure. They will call you detached. Let them. Detachment is only composure witnessed by the desperate. They will accuse you of being inhuman. Let them. Humanity, in their language, mean compliance. Learn to accept their confusion as confirmation that your transformation is working. Machiavellian strategy dictates that perception precedes truth. The man who shapes perception commands the terms of truth. You do this not through noise, but through timing. The timing of your words determines their gravity. When you finally speak after long silence, the world leans in. They listen not because your words are loud, but because your silence has trained them to expect precision. You have turned scarcity into demand. That is discipline's hidden economy. It is how kings rule without shouting. It is how commanders bend men's will without lifting a sword. Now understand the architecture of this game. Every person you meet is a bundle of fears disguised as personality. They navigate by signals: tone, gaze, reaction. The less signal you give, the more they project. The more they project, the more they reveal. Your silence becomes a diagnostic tool. Watch how they fill it. The insecure will ramble. The manipulative will flatter. The cunning will test. You will record these patterns in your mind. You will learn the art of extraction without interrogation. Power collects information quietly. You do not need to demand honesty when people confess themselves in the vacuum you create. Control is not the absence of emotion. It is the alignment of emotion with intention. You will feel anger, pride, desire, fear, but you will not serve them. You will study them as instruments. Use anger to fuel focus, not reaction. Use pride to maintain standards, not vanity. Use desire to motivate strategy, not addiction. Use fear to sharpen awareness, not paralysis. Every emotion can be repurposed when filtered through silence. The undisciplined man drowns in noise. The disciplined one channels it into precision. Your goal is not peace. It is clarity. Peace is static. Clarity moves. You must stop imagining that power requires cruelty. Cruelty is noise. It reveals lack of control. True dominance is quiet because it has nothing to prove. The cruel seek validation through pain. The disciplined seek order through understanding. Detachment is not numbness. It is calibration, the ability to adjust your response to fit the outcome. The higher you rise, the colder the air becomes. Do not mistake that cold for emptiness. It is purity. It is focus. It is the atmosphere of command. The disciplined mind becomes an ecosystem unto itself. It needs less. It observes more. It ceases to chase validation and begins to harvest insight. You will notice the patterns of human hunger, approval, comfort, belonging, and you will stop feeding them automatically. You will offer what is useful and withdraw what is wasted. This selective engagement turns your presence into currency. People begin to crave what you ration. That craving is the foundation of your influence. When they cannot predict when you will give, they elevate your value. This is the paradox of restraint. The less you offer, the more you are wanted. Now I tell you a truth, that few survive hearing the world respects only two kinds of people, the silent and the victorious. Everyone else is decoration for their story. You are being asked to choose between the comfort of inclusion and the solitude of command. Inclusion is warm, but it dilutes you. Command is cold, but it crystallizes you. Discipline is the bridge between them. Walk it. Do not look back. Every hesitation, every attempt to explain yourself to the crowd will drag you downward. Let them misunderstand. Let them speak. Your silence will outlive their noise. You are nearing the final phase. You have seen the illusion, the conditioning, the mechanics, the weakness. Now you must learn the architecture of control, the blueprint for command. It is not a list, it is a formation, a stance you inhabit. Each principle is a maneuver: silence, boundaries, discipline, detachment, observation, selective compassion, controlled aggression, solitude. These are not virtues, they are weapons. You will learn how to wield them. Shall I proceed into that battlefield? Then listen carefully, because this is the part they never teach. The blueprint for command begins with silence, not the silence of fear, but the silence of design. You speak only when sound becomes strategy. Every word you release must alter the field. If it doesn't, it betrays you. The disciplined man measures his speech the way a general measures distance before firing. You will learn to count your breaths before you answer, to let others drown in their own explanations. When they beg for your opinion, give them stillness. When they press for your plan, give them a smile that means nothing. You must condition your presence to radiate patience so absolute that impatience in others exposes itself. Silence bends time. The one who controls time controls perception. When you wait longer than the other man can tolerate, he begins to confess, to promise, to offer. You win without lifting a hand. Next, boundaries. A man without boundaries is a resource waiting to be consumed. People take until you teach them limits. You set limits not with arguments but with behavior. When you walk away once, it teaches more than 100 explanations. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They separate what deserves your energy from what drains it. You will stop giving time to noise, to flattery, to those who mistake access for intimacy. Distance breeds respect. The more accessible you are, the less authority you hold. Learn to vanish. Let them wonder where you went. That wondering is the birth of value. Discipline itself is the spine of command. It is not perfection. It is consistency under tension. It is doing what the undisciplined cannot, repeating precision until it becomes instinct. You will build routines that harden your focus, that isolate your intent from distraction. Wake early. Train your body to obey without question. Restrict what you consume: food, pleasure, information, excès dels instincts. The disciplined man is minimalist in appetite and maximal in clarity. Each controlled act, however small, accumulates into authority. Discipline is the only contract that cannot be broken by others, only by yourself. Keep it unbroken, and you become untouchable. Detachment follows. Detachment is the art of remaining unmoved by the theater of emotion. You will witness others oscillate between flattery and fury. You will remain still. To detach is not to stop feeling, but to stop bleeding. Feel everything, but let nothing dictate. The enemy of command is identification, identifying with pain, praise, or role. You are not what they call you. You are what you decide to act on. Detachment is steel in liquid form. It moves but never bends. In negotiation, detachment starves manipulation. The one who needs least dictates terms. Observation is your intelligence network. Watch everything. Study posture, timing, hesitation, tone. Every movement carries data. Most people are transparent because they do not know they are being read. They reveal hierarchy in their gaze, insecurity in their laughter, envy in their pauses. Train your perception to collect these fragments. Connect them until patterns emerge. You will soon see that most conversations are performances of need. When you can read need, you can guide outcome. Observation replaces reaction. Reaction is the weapon of the weak. Observation is the shield of the strong. Selective compassion. This one confuses men who think power and mercy cannot coexist. Compassion is not the opposite of strategy. It is one of its faces. Use it deliberately. Be kind where kindness stabilizes, not where it weakens. Help those who can repay in loyalty or information. The rest, observe. Uncontrolled compassion is moral vanity. It feeds your ego more than it heals others. But compassion aimed correctly buys silence. Allegiance. Influence. The wise ruler knows that loyalty built on gratitude endures longer than loyalty built on fear. Yet he also knows when to withdraw it. Controlled aggression is your momentum. The world does not reward passivity. There are moments when you must strike not emotionally, but surgically. Aggression without control is destruction. Aggression with control is enforcement. When action is required, act completely. Half measures invite retaliation. The silent man must be capable of sudden violence, not always physical, but psychological. Decisive. Your restraint must be so disciplined that when you finally act, it feels like fate itself has moved. People respect inevitability more than kindness. When your hand moves, make it final. Finally, solitude. Solitude is your forge. It is where clarity is beaten into shape. You must learn to seek it as one seeks oxygen. In solitude, illusion dit. The noise of the world fades until only your own pulse remains. That pulse is the rhythm of command. Without solitude, you become what the crowd wants. With it, you become what the world obeys. Guard your solitude as treasure. Fill it with study, observation, design. The strategist is born in company but crowned in isolation. Every hour alone adds weight to your presence when you return. The crowd will not understand your distance. They will call it loneliness. Let them. A man who cannot stand alone will always kneel in company. Combine these principles, and you will have the formation of command silent, contained, unreactive, deliberate. You will walk differently, slower, steadier. You will begin to feel a calm that frightens people. They will search your face for emotion and find calculation. They will begin to respect what they cannot define. That respect, multiplied over time, becomes power. Not power as noise, but power as inevitability. You will no longer chase outcomes. You will cause them. The world will move around you as if drawn by unseen gravity. This is the discipline of saying nothing, expanded into action. Now the final phase, the confrontation. You have listened, perhaps nodded, perhaps resisted, but understanding changes nothing until you commit. You must decide what kind of life you will live from this moment. The choice is merciless: remain a pawn or become a commander. Pawns speak endlessly because they are desperate to be heard. Commanders speak rarely because they are busy shaping the board. You cannot be both. The pawn pleads for fairness. The commander studies advantage. The pawn demands to be seen. The commander observes from shadow. The pawn asks, "Why me?" The commander asks, "How do I use this?" The pawn reacts. The commander waits. Choose. This transformation will cost you the comforts that keep most men asleep. It will strip you of belonging, of applause, of constant reassurance. In their place, you will gain precision, presence, gravity. You will move through the world differently. Your relationships will shift. Some will fear you, some will follow. Let them do both. Leadership is not friendship. You will no longer talk to convince. You will speak to direct. Your words will become commands wrapped in calm. Every silence will be a verdict. Every glance, a signal. Every absence, a statement. If you follow this path, you will wake one day and realize that the noise no longer reaches you. You will listen and hear only patterns. You will see motives where others see personalities. You will understand that people reveal themselves without realizing it. You will become impossible to manipulate because nothing in you is automatic. You will no longer react to provocation. You will study it. You will no longer explain yourself to the uncomprehending. You will reserve your clarity for the worthy. You will speak when the world has earned your voice. There will come a moment when someone asks you, "Why are you so quiet?" You will smile, because you finally understand. Power doesn't announce itself. It waits. It watches. It decides when to appear. That is the discipline of saying nothing, not suppression, but selection. Every silence, a weapon. Every word, an execution. So here is your final order. Stop trying to be good. Start being effective. Stop asking for permission. Start commanding. There is a moment quiet, almost invisible when the game turns. You have been silent long enough that people forget what your voice sounds like. They grow uneasy in the absence of your noise. They begin to fill the air with their own explanations, to invent motives for you, to debate what you think. That moment is your ascension. You have shifted from participant to environment. You are no longer inside their stories. You are the gravity shaping them. This is the state. Every strategist aims for effortless control. Born not of domination, but of calibration. The room moves around you, and you barely breathe. You have to understand that this discipline is endless. There is no finish line, no applause, no celebration. The path of command is not about triumph, It is about endurance. The world is chaos wearing masks of order. Every day, it tempts you to return to the comfort of noise, to justify, to argue, to prove. But noise is the leash that leads you back to mediocrity. You will resist it. You will hold your silence like a blade sheathed behind your calm. You will let others drown in conversation while you study currents beneath their words. You will never again confuse sound with significance. The disciplined mind walks among men like a shadow. It watches, records, decides. It no longer hopes for fairness or understanding. It moves according to pattern and pressure. You will feel lonely at first, a loneliness born from clarity, not lack. When you start seeing the world as it truly is, you stop belonging to it. That is the secret pain of power isolation. Yet within that isolation lies freedom. You are free from validation, from reaction, from the exhausting need to be understood. You exist beyond negotiation. That is sovereignty. People will sense it in you before they can name it. They will hesitate before speaking to you, as if the air itself demands precision. They will mirror your pace, lower their tone, measure their words. This is the gravitational field of discipline. It does not announce, it compels. You will realize that silence is not absence, it is architecture. Every pause you allow becomes a chamber that shapes the echo of others. The more you practice, the larger your silence grows, until it becomes the invisible structure in which everything else must exist. That is how power survives, not through visibility, but through inevitability. Soon you will see through the theater of emotion. Outrage, affection, confession, all performances to control tempo. You will stop being moved by them. The man who cannot be provoked cannot be predicted. The man who cannot be predicted cannot be managed. You will see men crumble because they mistake reaction for strength. You will see women test you with chaos because they crave the stability of your silence. You will not flinch. You will hold stillness until it becomes legend. The disciplined man does not conquer others. He simply outlasts them. Endurance, more than brilliance. Rules imperies. You may ask, is this loneliness worth it? Yes, because loneliness is a cost paid once. Weakness is a debt paid daily. Every time you explain yourself to the unworthy, you pay interest on that debt. Every time you apologize for clarity, you give away command. Every time you break silence to ease tension, you forfeit mystery. Learn to carry tension as a weapon. Tension is the electricity of influence. Those who cannot bear it will break themselves trying to release it. Let them. There is something almost divine about stillness mastered. The noise of the world becomes distant, like wind behind glass. You begin to feel time slow. You start anticipating events before they unfold. Because silence sharpens perception into foresight. The disciplined man predicts, not through magic, but through pattern recognition born of patience. Others call it intuition. It is simply attention unhindered by distraction. When you no longer need to speak, you hear everything. That is how rulers think, not in words, but in currents. But beware, discipline can decay into vanity. The moment you start taking pride in your restraint, you weaken it. Silence must remain tool, not trophy. Pride breaks focus. You must hold your discipline as function, not identity. Do not become the man who performs quietness to appear powerful. True power is not performed. It simply is. The disciplined man carries his silence lightly, not as armor, but as skin. It fits so naturally that he forgets it's there. You will have moments of failure, There will be nights when you speak too soon. Days when emotion escapes your grip. Do not spiral. Study the breach. Record the trigger. Rebuild stronger. Discipline is a loop of correction, not punishment. The goal is precision, not purity. You are sculpting yourself into a weapon of clarity, sharp, restrained, deliberate. Each mistake is a forge strike. Let the noise burn away what is soft. What remains will be hard, calm, immovable. When you encounter opposition, men of ambition, women of cunning, institutions of deceit, you will not meet them with argument. You will meet them with silence, so complete, it reflects their own fear back at them. You will let them reveal their motives through their desperation to make you react. You will learn to say no without words, to dismantle manipulation with stillness. The disciplined man does not chase victory. He lets opponents destroy themselves in the vacuum he creates. The world calls it luck. It is not. It is the mathematics of composure. I once warned a prince that survival belongs to those who can act without emotion and feel without reaction. You now understand why. Emotion blinds strategy. Reaction exposes weakness. To command yourself is to command others. The battlefield is psychological, not physical. The war is fought between impulse and intention. Victory is measured in seconds of restraint. You will begin to notice that silence has flavors. There is the silence of patience, the silence of threat, the silence of grief, the silence of power. You will learn to choose which one to wield. In a confrontation, your quiet becomes a mirror. The louder they shout, the smaller they feel. In negotiation, your pause becomes a countdown. Every second stretches, amplifies, tilts advantage toward you. In leadership, your stillness becomes gravity. Others steady themselves by it. Silence is not a lack. It is a form of language. You will become fluent in it. Eventually, you will no longer crave victory. You will crave alignment between mind, word, and outcome. You will measure success not by applause, but by precision. You will stop caring about opinions entirely. Opinions are weather. Strategy is architecture. When you live by design, you no longer need the forecast. You build structures that endure regardless of the storm. That is the final stage of discipline: freedom from reaction, freedom from approval, freedom from the need to speak. And one day, you will find yourself in a room full of noise, people arguing, posturing, seeking attention, and you will realize how far you have come. You will sit, silent, calm, unbothered. They will glance at you, curious, maybe uneasy. They will feel that something about you is different. That difference is not arrogance, not mystery, not superiority. It is mastery, the mastery of self, the victory of silence over chaos. You will not need to announce it. The world will already know. So I tell you this one last time with the cold certainty of a man who has studied centuries of failure and survival. Stop trying to be good. Start being effective. Stop asking for permission. Start commanding. And then say nothing.